Welcome back to the show. Today I have a very special guest, a personal friend of mine and one of my favorite human beings in the world, Mr. Adrian Hernandez. But before we allow you to see his precious physique, this is what you're getting yourself into by watching today's episode. We're going to show you, physically prove to you that get rich quick schemes don't exist. We're going to get into the false glamour of entrepreneurship. And we're going to talk about 7-figure earners in the real estate space, realtor versus investor, and also what differentiates a successful real estate entrepreneur versus a non-successful real estate entrepreneur, specifically when they get higher level coaching. And we're also going to talk about Hatua and how she's the epitome of overextending yourself and getting yourself into some things like a meme coin when you shouldn't. So with that being said, Mr. Adrian Hernandez, welcome to the show, bro.
What's up, everybody? Let's freaking go. Back in the
fun, right?
building. Yeah, that was
that
good.
laundry list of things, right?
Did you rehearse that?
No. We it's what we do, right? We have a great time like doing this show. We've been doing this show for over a year consistently. It's the first time in our lives, right? At first, when we started this show, we were like, you know what? We're going to do 100 shows. We're going to commit to 100 shows, you know? And then when we were like 20 something shows in, we were like, okay, we're going to commit to 1,000 shows. We want to be one of the top, 50 shows in the country. Right. Well, then we got to emulate what the Andy Frisellas of the world do, and the PBDs of the world, and the Brad Lees of the world, the Joe Rogans of the world. They're in episode 1,000 something.
Right.
Thousands of episodes in. See, everybody launches a show and they think that after like 20 episodes, they're supposed to have like a top 100 show in the country. Isn't that disgusting, bro?
Yeah. Right.
By the way, for people that don't know this yet, that's not reality.
No, it's
arrogance. When it comes to launching a podcast, or when it comes to launching a business.
100%.
Right? So why don't we start there? Because I know for a fact that you've been in the game of real estate for quite some time, and you've been busting your butt for a very, very long time, right?
Yeah.
Now, everybody out there on social media will show you the glitz and the glamour, the trips, the watches, the cars, the houses, right? The yachts, the rented yachts for $3,500 to $7,000 or $3,500 to $7,500 dollars per hour, depending on the size of the yacht, right? The chartering of the jets. They'll show you all of that, but they won't show you the uncertainty and the pain and the worry and the stress and the pressure that we face as entrepreneurs and business owners every day. Would you agree?
Couldn't agree more.
Talk to me about that.
I got in the game in 2011, and I thought I was going to make $1 million the next year. I didn't make $1 million for 9 years later.
You are a confident.
For 9 years later, I made $1 million.
You are a confident man. That's what people call the 10-year overnight success.
Right. But at the time when you're in it, I'm in a year, I'm making $1 million. And I'll never forget, there were some title reps. They laughed at me, dude. We were in Cabo and they laughed at me, and I'm like, what the fuck are they laughing at me for? I'm like, why am I getting laughed at right now? And then one of them pulled me aside and they're like, I like the ambition, but you probably won't get there for another 10 years. And dude, I remember being mad. Like, I was pissed off. I'm like, what do you mean? Right? I remember telling my wife now, and I'm like, why are they so negative? Now I get it. It's not negative. It's the truth. It's reality.
But Adrian, that you brought up a really good point, bro. You think if you didn't have that mindset of, hey, I'm going to make $1 million this year, in 9 years, you wouldn't have gotten there?
Yeah, so good point, right? It was it's a good point. I think that ambition helped me, right? But I also had to get real, because the next year I realized this is going to take some time, right? This is going to take a lot of time. And I was door knocking and cold calling. That's how I built my business. I built my business literally knocking 100 doors a day as an agent. I started off as an assistant, actually.
Wow.
So before I was even an agent, I went to a broker. He says, great, you want to work for me? Put down 1,000 flyers. He said, go knock on this house. I just listed it. Don't come back until you get these done. It was 1,000 of them. I spent a whole week in Southridge, Fontana, knocking all 1,000 doors. I came back and he's like, oh, you did it. And I'm like, every single one of them. And he's like, what happened? And I don't know what happened. I just know I knocked on all the doors, right? I remember someone saying they wanted to sell. I didn't know what sales. Like, okay, cool, right on. Well, have a good day. We'll be at the open house. And I walked away, not knowing what to do.
You had a prospect and you walked away?
I didn't have a script. He just gave me some flyers and so go knock.
And you had a license?
I didn't have a license.
You didn't
I
have
was
a
an
license
assistant.
yet? Oh, wow.
I didn't even have a license, so I just knocked, right? So
Wow,
that's
so
how
you weren't a very good assistant then.
No, that's
Nah,
all-
I'm just like,
But you know what?
I'd have been upset.
You gotta give him props that he went to do something he didn't know what to do. Like you have balls. You showed up there, you did it. You didn't know what the next steps are.
Right.
He probably didn't know you were gonna get to the next step. He just wanted you to pass.
I have to comment on that.
He wanted me to go away.
That's
no.
the key to success, bro. Because
You're persistent.
That's it.
yeah.
That's it right there. So you remind me of, I just watched it for like the 10th time, The Founder, Michael Keaton, about the McDonald's story, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
developing of McDonald's.
Yeah.
How they went from selling burgers to owning land and putting the franchises on the land. And it's like, you need to get into the land game, not the burger game, right? You make 5 cents a burger, you know what I mean, right?
Right.
You reminded me at the end of the movie, Michael Keaton, right? Ray Kroc in the movie turns around and looks at the camera as he's doing his tie or whatever he's doing, his bow tie, right? He's about to, I mean, this guy's a gazillionaire by then, right?
Yeah.
And he says, you wonder how a 52-year-old, what is it, ice cream shake salesman can do $700 million in annual revenue. Like, he starts going off and he just like notates everything he just crushed over the past couple of years. And he goes, persistence. Boom. Back to you, right?
Persistence.
See, this is what people don't understand in not only the game of real estate, but in the game of anything, right? You don't have to be the smartest.
Nope.
You don't have to be the richest.
No.
You don't have to be the most talented.
You don't have to be the best.
But if you are persistent, it's almost like that water versus rock theory.
Right.
You will eventually break that rock.
Yeah.
Right.
The water will eventually, it could be 100 years, it could be 1,000 years, it could be 1,000,000 years. You will win eventually. And that's how I feel about persistence. And that's how I feel about what it takes in the game of business to win. What's your
100%.
feedback?
Well, and I think the persistence is good, but it's also being able to adapt, because I know a lot of persistent people that haven't made a lot of money because they're not adapting to what's working and what's not working, right? It was like me as an agent. I was banging my head against the wall calling expireds and for sale by owners. I had to adapt. I finally, Ty Leon Guerrero introduces me to you guys, and then I see what you guys are doing, and I'm like, this is the adapt form, right? This is how I get to where I'm going, by adapting to what's working. So I think a lot of us get caught in that, right? I'm an original Mike Ferry guy, learned a bunch of Mike Ferry stuff, and what I've seen from the agents in Mike Ferry is they're persistent on cold calling, they're persistent on door knocking, but they never take it to the next level. They never adapt to the environment, and we're seeing that happen right now, right? I was listening to your guys' real estate podcast on the way over here, and you guys were talking about that, right? You were talking about how do we make money in a struggling market? Well, a lot of agents are struggling right now because they don't know how to adapt, right? I gotta say something. You haven't yelled at Zadie yet. What the hell?
Zadie!
Yeah.
Hey, Adrian, I want to bring this up.
Oh my God, I got so much to go ahead.
Yeah.
You go. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I'll
So-
go. I'll go after you.
So when you came, it was 2019. You came all in.
Yes.
What was the biggest eureka aha moment of information that you took that you just ran with? Like if you could pinpoint, I know there's probably a lot, but if you could pinpoint one thing, what do you think that was?
Before he answers that, I just want to say this. I knew you were a rock star the moment you and I got on a Zoom call.
Let's go.
I don't know if I
remember that call.
You remember
Who's his
that?
confidence?
He was standing up. He's like, he knew what he wanted, bro.
Yeah.
He knew what he wanted, right? And he knew how fast he wanted to go. And he's like, what do we got to do? Let's go.
It's like
Let's
that
go.
mentality
Let's go.
of like, look, bro,
You're
I'm
a
getting there
bulldog.
with or without you,
Bro.
Are you gonna help me get there, or am I getting there alone?
Yeah. I knew. I think when I got off that call, I told Sal, I was like, yo, that dude's a bulldog. Like, he's ready to roll, bro. Right?
remember. Yeah.
Well, and I saw what you guys were doing. It was, you see, in the traditional real estate market, there's no systems, there's no processes, like there's no real marketing, right? You guys showed a way to build a business, right? You can be a hustler agent all day long. You're just an independent contractor. You guys showed us how to build a business. I mean, dude, you guys were the founders of wholesaling it, like coaching
scale.
and at scale,
Yeah.
right? Like who else? Nobody was doing it. It was you guys,
Yeah.
right? That were actually out there. So for us, when Nick and I started doing wholesale deals, we were doing a few flips. I did my first flip in 15. So I knew it was there. I just didn't know how to put the pieces to the puzzle together. You guys had the puzzle together, right? And to answer your question, Zadie, that's what I saw, right? It was, and here's another thing, guys. We can think it, but and then when you see it, it makes it possible, right? I thought it, and then I came and saw it, and I was like, oh, dude, we can.
If they could do it, I
right?
could do it.
Right. Yeah, but more of like they did it. Let's copy it, right? Or let's
love that.
duplicate.
Because they're literally teaching you exactly how to copy.
Exactly how to do it. So why overcomplicate it? And then here's this: every single time I would let my ego get in the way to think I knew what I was doing, Zadie, I would get it wrong. I'd get it wrong.
You know what's crazy, by the way, and I know we're going to get into this subject about all the get-rich-quick schemes that we've seen throughout the years, right? In my opinion, I was thinking about this. You know what's beautiful, by the way? We're talking about all kinds of things that I was actually meditating over this morning.
Oh.
Like so that means that we are in alignment and we are on the right path. Praise God, right?
Well, you are picking the topics. So,
Huh?
I mean, you are.
No.
Picking the
I
topics.
wasn't even thinking about. Oh, what topics? We literally made the topics when he got here. You know what I mean? Right? Like right here.
And it was
right?
collaborative. Like we threw
Yeah,
it in there.
exactly. Right. But I was thinking about all this. I mean, if you watch this, okay, you know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong. Hold on, I'm gonna prove him wrong. Let me prove him wrong. All right, ready? I posted this on Facebook at 5 hours ago. Read that out loud. Read that out loud. That was 5 hours ago.
Shout out to everyone out there making an honest living. It might take you 10, 20 years to break through, but nonetheless, you'll get there. Get rich quick schemes are for fools. Amen to that, brother.
Hold on. Oof. Right? Did you see that,
Facts.
folks?
Facts.
I
Get
did
rich
not, yeah.
quick schemes are for fools.
Yes.
Fool's gold.
Right? So there's only one shortcut. There's only one shortcut you can take that we can take, right?
Sharpen your skill set.
No, hey, like you said, let's go and let's go get next to someone that's already there.
Yeah.
Let's go get next to someone that's already there. That's the shortcut you can take.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, go next to somebody that's already there who's willing to teach you how they got there. Because a lot of people, they get there and then they like hold everything back over a curtain, in back of a curtain. They don't tell you anything like the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
You know, but you guys like actually.
Here's the
opened up
flip side to
things.
that coin. Here's the flip side to that coin, right? You know, I'll give you an example, right? Okay, so Adrian's already doing multiple seven figures.
Right.
All right. That more than likely means that his time is money,
That's right.
right? Hey, Adrian, can we go have a cup of coffee? Like,
pick
those
your
are
brain.
tough conversations,
brain.
right? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there, right? Let me pick your brain. We've all been in
Let me
that
buy you
season.
coffee.
Let me buy you coffee. Adrian does not need you to buy him coffee.
Yeah.
Adrian does not. Adrian didn't wake up. Wait, why are you laughing?
Because I'm just thinking of all the people that have said that. You know, let me pick your brain. Like,
Yeah.
give me
Like,
who-
sorry,
who
bro.
taught
Like,
them that?
yo,
Who taught
Adrian
people that
didn't get
line?
up this morning, and he's like, man, I'm looking forward to getting my brain picked today.
I think the best way to
You get what I'm
approach
saying?
anybody is like, hey, bro, let me get you a deal. Here's the deal for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what a
That's-
great
that-
opener.
that-
Now
right,
we're
right?
talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. Now, see, that's like, Adrian, hey, brother, how much for lunch? Like, let me know you're serious, right? But guess what? Because so many people in the social media space have completely bastardized what real value in time is and what real substance is.
Yeah.
Right? People are more hesitant, more skeptical. You got all these I call it the alpha male universe. Right? You got the alpha male universe, right? Specifically in the online and sales coaching industries. Right? That you'll pay them $30,000 or $50,000 for what?
To yell at
Hey,
you.
you're a fat POS. You're lazy. You need to get in the gym at 6 a.m. and your life will change. Now, that's true
It is.
to a degree,
It is.
Right. Yeah, to a degree.
but that's not going to solve all of your problems.
No,
Right?
100% not. No, it's like buying that meme coin, the Hawk 2 meme coin. It's like thinking it's going to solve all your problems. Get rich quick.
Oh my God.
How many? And let's not talk about that. But how many times have we seen this in the real estate industry? Right?
Yeah.
It's over and over and over again. And when you guys first started, you were the only ones, right? Now, how many courses can you buy on Instagram?
Jeez,
Oh
man.
my goodness, bro.
Majority of them
Thousands.
are people that came through All In. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, about 90% of them.
Everyone-
90% of them.
Here's what people figured out. At the end of the day, bro, this is what I'll tell you. I think Amir Hilali's the one that told me this. He's like, I've always made more money as a student than a teacher.
So good.
Wow.
So good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? So
Wow.
I will always tell you this, bro. I will always say this. Like Sal and I, at the end of the day, brother, if you give Sal a choice, hey, bro, do you want to be an educator or do you want to be an operator? It's a simple answer. What is it, Sal?
Oh, I'm an operator. Through
See what I'm
and
saying?
through.
Like, what do I like? What do I prefer to do?
Operating.
I prefer to operate, bro. I prefer to be a business architect every day. You know what I'm saying? Pull here, pull there, fill in there, move in this. How's the marketing? Right? Here's what a lot of these folks that came after us, right? Because we got going pretty hard in 2018, right? The likes of people like Ryan Pineda, Pace Morby, Donovan Ruffin, Nick Perry, like everybody came through our
Highs.
trainings.
Yeah.
Tiffany High, Austin Rutherford. I mean, bro, when do you want me to stop, right?
Just keep
Everybody
going,
came
bro.
through
Keep
our
going. Let
trainings,
everyone
right?
know.
But you know what? There's a couple things that's done for us, praise God. It's given us the credibility.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's given us the reputation,
Yep.
right? But at the end of the day, some of them, not all of them, some of them, right, fell in love with picks and shovels, with the fast money,
Yeah.
right? Think about it, right? And when you're educating, what's the risk versus flipping a home?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I can make $30,000 off this human being versus making $30,000 off this property that I got to put 10% down to, and I got to manage general contractors, and I have to, right, and I have to pay for renovation, and I have to expose, I have to expose myself financially, right? It's like, that's a hard choice for some people. Not really. You see what I'm saying?
Plus
Right?
for the younger, you have a lot of younger people that do this too, because they have no understanding how to run a business, and the education game is you don't need to know how to run a business. You just regurgitate a bunch of stuff that you learned online, and then you add some spice to it. And to your point that you got the authoritative teachers that yelling at people and do this and you can do it. Yeah, sure. That goes.
The beta males fold as soon as you yell. You yell at a beta male.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not a man. Give me $30,000. Oh, okay.
It's called fitness, idiot. Adrian, what do you
Jesus.
what do you
that
what do you
went
do?
south.
I'm sure people try to gain information from you, try to schmooze you, pick your brain. How do you handle, obviously you know a lot, a wealth of information, bro, to make $1 million, to stick in for 9 years and then do it, to me, is more than just getting it in year 2, 3, because those mistakes have taught you so much more. So when people approach you, how do you handle that? What do you do? Do you just say, hey, I don't do that? Do you send them somewhere? Do you try to work with them? What do you do?
Yeah, so at first, I'm a big amiable, so I want everyone to like me, right? And I've had to work on that. So at first, I would help everybody, right? I would take my time and help them. And then now I gotta set some boundaries, right? So now I'm just, dude, I have Opal on my phone. It doesn't allow me to open my Instagram app. And there's times where people are just sitting in my inbox. I hate to say it that way, but
So
I'm
awesome.
focusing on the business. And to your guys' point, I did this. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I went and started coaching a bunch of real estate agents. We made
To transition to investors?
to help them transition into investor.
Yeah.
We made what, 250 grand maybe doing that. I maybe left $2.5 million
I was
on
gonna
the
say
table.
yes. I was gonna say at least $1 million.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, the moment I get out of and I shut it all down, I'm not doing it anymore, and I focus on the business quadruples. The business 5Xs, 6Xs, 7Xs, right? And Nick walked in the other day. I had a client call me. He's all pissed off because he couldn't access Go High Level and see the previous recordings, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't do this anymore.
Yeah, why are you handling that?
Yeah, he's super frustrated. So I hung up and I'm like, Nick, what were we doing? Right? What were we doing? And Nick brought up that point. He's like, well, those that can't teach and those that right, or those that can't teach and those that can do. And the difference is that we were trying not to do it back then, right? And now that we're doing it, we don't want to teach. I don't want to spend time on the phone helping you. I hate to sound that way, but I need to focus on our business, right? And then when I'm not focused on my business, I need to go home and focus on my family. And anything in between is a distraction.
I remember seeing with these guys, and what you're saying is, it's just alluding to this point, man. These guys were killing it in the market, and then they kind of like took the brakes off. They helped everybody else. They built everyone else's business. They took the foot off the gas pedal and lost all momentum in their own operation.
Right.
And then it's just after that, it was like a realization you guys came up with. You're like, all right, no more, man.
It's not worth it.
We got to
It's not
put
worth it.
everything into our business. And ever since then, like you were saying, the numbers just keep on increasing, and things are getting better and better.
You know, education is a hamster wheel. Like being an education coach is a hamster wheel, and you're always codependent on the next student.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And here's what I think. I think everyone, like every good human being out there in the bottom of their heart, like they want to teach, they want to impact people. Right. We want to impact people. But this is what I've also seen, that if you go hard on the coaching side, everything else is going to suffer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Everything else is going to suffer. Right. So, but if you go hard on the operation side, everything else is kind of easy. Mm-hmm. Right. And the way Sal and I now, because we learned that lesson the hard way, the way Sal and I operate now is, hey, how can we reach the most, impact as many people as we can, right? Obviously, make some money doing it, because I mean, time is money and nothing is free, right? And I would say, if people, when people pay, they pay attention.
Yep.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And then the third thing was in the least amount of time possible, as far as like our time.
Right.
Right. That's why now it's more like community coaching, like 1 hour a week, you know what I mean? Because it's the same thing, bro. When it was like we became full-time teachers at one point, and that was not aligned. That didn't make me happy.
No, 100%. If anything, I was more frustrated because I cared more about them doing what they needed to do than they did. And then they wouldn't take the action, and I would get frustrated, and I would come home. My wife's like, why are you so frustrated? I'm like, well, I was talking to the student. I'm trying to help him. Can't take the action. What are you doing?
Yes.
I remember I only did like one time that I really poured into somebody. I spent maybe 3 hours on the phone with the guy. I want to get into wholesaling. I told him everything. You got to do this, that, all this, the 3-hour conversation. The next day, I'm like, I'm going to send you this book. I sent him the book. The next day I call him. Yeah, I don't think wholesaling's for me.
Of course.
And I'm like, give me back my 3 hours, bro.
Yeah,
like, what's going on here, man? And like that made me realize, I'm like, you can never get that time back, man.
No.
And that's why when people pay, they pay attention. It's good for a coach, if someone is a coach, to take money, because you can't get that time back, man. It's like time away from your kids, time away from your business, time away from your health, time away from your physical fitness.
Right.
Just all that's just pissed away.
Right. So, well, you guys had a business when you were doing it, a very successful business.
Yes.
The issue is we're seeing people that they haven't even done anything. They've closed a couple of freaking deals, right? But because it looks so sexy, it looks so glamorous, you don't have to do the work. I'm just going to put out a course. Yeah. Right? And it's like, Jesus.
Well, don't forget, guys, here is the starter pack for full-time educators.
Starter pack.
It's the right. This is the way they sell you a lifestyle. That's it. Like these guys, I haven't seen any of them, right? Especially on the real estate side, show you how, like, yeah, dude, you got to go into the office every day. Yeah, dude, you got to be in some like marketing meetings every week.
They don't show you the ugly.
Yeah, dude, you got to be constantly investing into your leadership.
Right.
Right. Yeah, dude, you have to spend money. You have to invest money on marketing, on people, on systems, on processes. Right. On development.
Sacrifice your time, relationships.
Right? They don't know. They show you the car.
Yep.
They show you the resorts or the beach, wherever they're at.
Right.
Right. Hey guys, you can be just like me. Like that is exactly what you get. Right. And what you were saying earlier was, man, if they only knew the pressure,
dude,
and the risk and the stress that you actually have to go through consistently.
Every day.
Maybe for the rest of your life.
Right.
That is what's reality right there. Can you go into that?
100%, dude. Spencer Weinberg and I were talking about this on the way over here. I was driving over. He's like, dude, can you please be real? Can you please let everybody know that this is not sexy? This is not glamorous. If anything, this is freaking really, really hard. I mean, dude, we spend $250,000 a month in marketing. Mm-hmm. There are months where I'm waking up asking myself, how the are we going to do this? right? And we have a goal to get to 500,000, right? And when we get there, we're going to struggle with our whole with a whole nother set of challenges, right? But every single day is a challenge, and nobody talks about that, right? With the challenge with work and the challenge of, I don't like the word balance, but being able to still be a good family man and still grow a good business, right?
Offset.
Nobody
I call it
ever
offsetting.
talks about that.
Yeah.
And it's like grind. Okay, what do you lose when you grind? I know a lot of people that grind, and they're divorced, and they have and their kids don't talk to them.
Well,
My God.
that happens
Vicious.
very often to entrepreneurs, and that's sad.
It is.
That's very sad because, it doesn't it suck, dude, that like we always say, I'm doing this for my family. My family is my wife, and then you lose your family
In the process,
on the journey.
I mean, dude, let's be honest. Our sons don't care, right? What do our sons care about?
Time. They're spending time with us.
Attention.
They don't give a shit if we're driving a Ferrari or a Honda Civic. They don't care. They're going to be happy in both cars regardless.
Wow.
Right? So when we say we're doing it for our family, I actually had a really good friend, Eddie, I was like, what are you doing this for? I was like, oh, I'm doing it for my future family. Shut up. No, you're not. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your ego. You're doing it so you can feel good driving to the office. Let's be honest with each other.
Wow.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm doing it for my future family.
Yeah.
get out of here.
Oh my God.
Vanity is a hell of a drug.
It is.
It is.
All to feed the ego, of course.
All defeat the ego.
Yeah. I don't think so we were talking about this last week. Your why does change, right? Your why does change, right? Like you said, let's be real. When you're a single young man, you're doing it for you. Yeah. Just like you just said, right? But then, you have a significant other, then, you start to pop out a few children. Now it's like, dude, I got to make sure that what were we talking about this morning? As a man, as a husband, as a father, your number one priority every single day is to protect and provide.
To hunt.
To hunt. That's what Zadie and I had a great conversation this morning at like 7:30 or 8 in the morning about going out to hunt. I'm like, dude, men have been doing it since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Right? We leave the wife and the children in the cave or in the hut, wherever it is, and we go out and we hunt, right? So
They bring back food.
that's right. You got to bring back the buffalo. You got to bring back the buffalo, right? That's what him and I were talking about this morning. So again, you're right. When you're a young man, you're doing it for you. You're doing it so you can acquire, more things and have some more freedom and be able to do some things that maybe your other young friends are not in position to. But eventually the family does come and then your why does change. Would you agree?
100%. And it's changing every season, right? It's changing every season. Sal and I were talking about, our kids earlier. That's a whole new season for me, dude. Like I much rather, I call it a day. 5 o'clock, 5:30 at the latest. I'm trying to get home, right? I'm trying to be there. Before it was, I'm working till 7:30, 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
But
How
now
old is
it's
your son right now?
2.5. Same
Two-
as
oh.
Sal's little girl. Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I envy you both, right? But I will say this. I think you guys' timing was probably maybe better than mine because, my 12-year-old, as you know, she had to go through about 3 to 5 years of like
You were starting.
grind,
Yeah.
right? Like I had a grind, really, really like, but right?
Choice.
I didn't have a choice. That's what I'm saying. You guys' timing, praise God, is much better than mine. You got a 2.5-year-old and you are the architect of your world right now.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so are you, right? Like you guys get to spend more quality time and be more present with where you guys are in life right now.
And purposeful.
And purposeful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So I'll give you a perfect example. I will say there's a caveat to that, right? The flip side to that coin. Today, Sal was like, hey, bro, 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. I think you were in the office.
Right.
Well, right? Hey, 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. What do you got going on? I'm like, well, bro, you know what? Vanessa and I were thinking about going up north with the girls. Right now, because our motto and our principles are God, family, hustle, right?
Yeah.
I will say, anytime that there is family involved, Sal and I don't get in the way of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I
sacred.
saw that.
It's sacred.
What's great?
It's sacred.
And I got to add this: it's not just between them; it's with everyone in the organization.
Yes.
Which you don't really see. You usually see like, okay, the owners of the company have their thoughts, and everyone else doesn't get that.
Right,
Everyone else doesn't get the mental breaks. Everyone else doesn't get the spiritual retreats.
Right.
But everyone here gets it, and it's super impressive to see.
I believe
because-
that's one of the biggest reasons why people are here. It's not
attracted
just about the money. The money is always going to be a factor,
Right.
right? Let's talk a little leadership, right? Because I know I want to get into your operation. The money's always going to be a factor, but it's not everything.
No.
It's not. People want to be acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
People want to be respected. People want to be praised,
Yeah.
right? People want to be able to take care of their families. At least they want to be given the opportunity to take care of their families.
right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
That's all part of people want to be invested into. That's all part of leadership. So, talk to me about your operation, brother. What does it look like right now, right?
Yeah.
And what do you got going on?
So we shifted from outbound marketing to inbound marketing. So we're doing mailers, PPC, TV commercials, and then YouTube ads, anything we just started Facebook ads, which will be a little interesting. But we're super lean, dude. I was very, very grateful. We talked about mentorships and people that can, that you could see what they're doing. I was very grateful that Dub Hopkins was, poured into Nick and I, and really helped us with the inbound game. So it's changed. What do we have? We have so myself, Nick, and then so I run all the back end marketing. I learned PPC. I kind of
who's on TV, by the way? Is it you? Are you the guy on TV?
Yeah, I'm the one on TV.
You got to send me the commercial, bro, or the various commercials that you shot. Like, you got to send them.
You do Spanish and English as well?
No, just English right now. We're working on something with Telemundo, but we're trying to figure out the messaging, right? I want to buy your house is not
doesn't work.
It's not working in the Spanish community, so we're trying to come up with a good script for that. So we already have set. We have our schedule set. We're just trying to figure out the creative.
Nice.
But to answer your question, so I'm on the marketing side, Nick's on the dispo side. We have 2 acquisitions managers, so we're all in person. So we do our best to go in person. If we can get it over the phone based on, their motivation, we will. But for the most part, we're trying to do our best to go in person. And then we have 1 dispo rep, 1 file manager. She's more of like the office manager. She handles everything, makes sure the file closes. And then we just started MLS deals. So as of January, we brought someone on. Stephanie, her only job is to sit there and, she goes after MLS deals.
Agent outreach?
Agent outreach, creating the relationships. And then there's tons of great deals in Southern California that are on the market.
Hey, Sal, right there, right? What he just said, Sal? Sal, what's going on over there, Mr. Sal? Hey, agent outreach, right? So agent outreach, bro, that's something that's very popular right now, but you got to be very systematic about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is time consuming, right?
Many shots.
But a lot of people, think about it, bro. This year, even though we didn't really want to, we bought some deals from wholesalers that got their deals on the market.
Yeah.
Right.
To flip ourselves, right? But agent outreach is a real thing. It's a real thing. I mean, I got a guy that we're presently coaching right now, a guy named Matt Justice. He did over $750,000 last year. A lot of it was agent outreach
All of it was.
and wholesale. All of it?
All of it was.
No, I think there was.
the whole
I think there was
business
some dispo service for some wholesalers here and there, but very few sprinkled,
yeah.
right? But agent outreach is a big thing.
Huge. And so my phone's blowing up right now because there's this guy. He's in our market. Talk to him often. Young kid, 22 years old, not licensed. Made $1.2 million last year. All agent outreach, all MLS deals.
Wow.
Dude, he's a single, no overhead, no marketing, crushing it. Oh,
Yeah,
that's 1.2 profit.
Profit margin is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Probably he has maybe 5% expenses and but very minor. But think about this. Why is agent outreach is a thing, especially now? Like think about the market state right now. You have a lot of sellers, panic listing.
Mm-hmm.
They're panic listing everything, and the cancellation rate is crazy, and it's causing more people to panic list.
Right.
With that being said, is you have a lot of inventory, and that means with a lot of inventory and a lot of panic in the marketplace, you are willing to drive the price down.
Right.
They're willing to accept a lower offer.
Huge.
And with that being said, is people are reaching out, and the home seller that's freaking out at home, sitting at home, they get a call from their realtor saying, "Hey, I know that this is not the offer you want, but hey, we got a number. What do you think?" Now they're gonna think about it twice,
Right.
and more than likely they'll say yes. And that's why it's becoming a lot more popular right now because of the ambiance feel now. Everybody, it's like an omnipresence feeling or omni feeling for everybody.
Don't you hate it? It's a doomsday feeling.
It is.
Well, yeah. I mean, the news doesn't help.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
let's
Negative.
talk about it.
Right.
You're gonna click on a video that says that housing is crashing. You're gonna click on those things to say, "Oh my God, what's going on?" Versus someone saying, "Yeah, it's all good."
I'm gonna
Right.
tell you, like Kanye West said, I got way too many blues to
Better
turn
get it
on the
right.
news, right? I got way too many blues to turn on the news.
Are those
Huh?
the?
I got way too many blues for any bad news.
Who's Kanye West, bro? You mean Ye?
You can't. I don't think you can
Kanye
say that
West?
anymore.
Is it Ye?
But anyway, go ahead, continue, bro. Sorry.
What blues? Are you talking about drugs?
No, blues means like
Drugs,
you know
blue?
you're
What's a
sad.
blue
You're
drug?
you know you.
What do you
I don't
call
know
it?
what kind
What
of
neighborhood are
drugs
you
you
from?
are
Ecstasy is
into.
blue?
I don't
I
even
think
know
they're
what
all
ecstasy
from
pills
mistaken.
is.
Like a sounds right. Yeah.
The ecstasy
trying-
pill is a
I don't know.
blue
I haven't
pill.
seen it, bro. I don't. You
I'm
tell me.
assuming
You
that's
tell
what
me.
he meant.
What's that look like?
Bro,
Full
ecstasy.
disclosure, I've never
here.
taken one,
Right,
but I know
ecstasy-
they're blue.
Ecstasy's
I've seen
not-
Bad Boys.
Listen,
That's what I was trying to think where I remember that
There
from.
you go.
ecstasy's not big in the Mexican community, bro. Weed is. Coke is.
Cerveza.
Kanye West,
is.
Kanye West is not
Cerveza.
Mexican, bro. I know
No,
what
I'm
you're
just
talking
saying,
about.
like, ecstasy's not big in the Mexican culture, bro.
No, that's
like
like a
we don't get
Miami
down
thing.
like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't get down like that. Ecstasy, I think, is like
Ecstasy makes you want to fuck. Mexicans
Oh my
already want to
God.
fuck. They already want
Yeah, we Mexicans don't need more of that.
Trying to go pound town.
Yo, that's a real right there.
It really
right?
is,
Oh my
right?
God.
Wasn't that Diddy? Was it for Diddy? There were all these. That's what they were talking about. His favorite was like the blue Teslas or something like that.
No,
He
it's
had
with
Obama
Obama's
pills.
Face. Yeah, Obama's face on his pills.
No,
bro.
he did
It's
not.
Crazy.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Bro, he had Obama. Did you see the pills?
I did not. That's
Okay.
funny though.
All right, we're going way.
Yeah,
No,
out.
we're not actually.
Left
We're on
field.
topic because think about this. We're talking about people are fearless.
Right.
They're fearlisting, and talk about society that like society is molded. That's what makes human species very unique. That you can project how we're going, but one news article or one person can say something and that can spread, and now it's unpredictable what's happening next, and that's why you always have to navigate
Right.
through the the muddy waters. We're talking about a society, and we're gonna jump back to the real estate, but let's talk about our society. Our society, and I'm gonna just try to explain this without giving too many details until you reach the conclusion. We're a society that would go after somebody would become famous at saying they're gonna spit on somebody's penis, and they became popular, and they have a nickname now, Hawk
Haktua. Yep.
Okay.
She had a podcast. Merch. A personal brand. She had merch, and she had a meme coin.
So it's a fluke. It's like it was literally a fluke. So she became famous out of a fluke, something pretty provocative, to be honest.
right.
And
She didn't
the
have a
next
course?
thing is
Spit
that
on that thing.
yeah,
She didn't have a course. She didn't have like a step-by-step
No,
course.
she didn't have a spit on that thing course.
She didn't have a hot
Should've-
tube
that would've
course.
been-
I would've bought it
that
for
would
my
be the
wife.
course to go after you went to think, right?
That would have been better than the coin.
Right, but then she decided to do a coin. Like somebody probably talked to her, and she's
Sal.
like, "Yeah, I'll do a coin."
Sal,
You know what he said?
What?
He said he'd get that for his wife, bro.
if she had a spit on that thing course, why wouldn't you buy it for your wife? Honey, are the kids in bed? It's 9 p.m. Let's watch this course.
Personal development.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
This will improve our marriage. All right, back. Sorry,
Anyways.
dude.
Oh, that's hilarious. But think about this. So you got this person that became a popular person. Like it was a fluke for them to become popular. They recorded them. She talked about spitting on somebody's penis. She became famous. She has a nickname. Everybody's talking about her. Then now somebody talks to her and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll make a coin." Then the society believed that this person would make this coin profitable.
Whoa, respectfully, a scammer licked his chops like they do. That's right.
It's
I was
opportunity.
like,
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
ooh, we got a new influencer. And they you know what they do, right?
in.
Go ahead and look at your request. Hey, right? I have an idea for you. Would love to collaborate with you on a meme coin. You know what? Why don't we advance you $150,000?
I don't blame her though. I don't blame her. Let me tell you who I'm blaming. That's what I'm trying to.
I blame her
just-
because she's an idiot.
Well, no, I mean you can blame her all you want, but
There's a
blame
lot of
the people
idiots.
that invested into that coin because they bought into the hype, and that is a society that we live in. If that doesn't let that sink in, we're so far deep in that barrel that this is a normal thing. Like you got people actually investing money, their life savings. Some of them just invested a few dollars probably into this coin, with knowing that this girl got popular with this being out on a night out in a club. And now I'm going to invest money into that. Try to explain that. That is the society that we live in. And now you're talking about a housing market is falling behind. Well, yeah, that's a lot more tangible than that. And so fear is a lot more realistic when it comes to the fear mongering happening in the real estate market, because that's actually, you can see that the price is going down.
Right.
You can see that. So yes, of course, a lot more spread panic is going to happen.
Right.
But this is, if you see it from the meme perspective, then you can understand what's happening in the real estate market.
100%.
But I think
You can understand what could happen in a car market. You can
Adrian's
understand what could happen in a stocks market.
All right, Adrian's been before you answer. Adrian's been trying to answer a lot of that.
yeah,
And
go.
this is his show.
Yeah,
No,
this
it's
is
not.
show.
No,
Yes, it
this
is.
No, it
No,
is
I
a
just
show.
wanted to touch on what you were touching about. I don't think that she's the idiot. I think the people that bought the coin were the freaking idiots. The people that bought into the hype. She was the smart one that said, "I'm gonna freaking leverage this thing all day long." And somebody went and had a whole bunch of bird dogs buy that coin at a cent and sold it when they popped, right? So, I mean, to your point, Sal, I mean, look at all the headlines. What is it? Inventory is twice that it's ever been. Inventory is twice it's ever been, and buyer demand is lowest it's ever been. It's all over the place. You can't open up a news article without seeing that. So, to your point, it just radiates fear.
In that
Absolutely.
situation, I don't think people were trying to get money. I think they just wanted a blowjob. You know, they
Is
bought the
that what
meme
came with
coin
the
for
move?
that. Like they're like, I can't have it, but if I get the coin, maybe I got a shot. I think so. I really
Zany
bought it,
logic
bro.
is-
I don't
out of this world.
understand who would even think something like that.
Zany.
If I
What-
buy the
Did you buy
meme
a
coin,
coin,
I
Zane?
may
Wait.
get a blowjob by Hawk Tua.
Men think with which head, bro?
Well, depending on which man.
That, by the way, that's a
I'm
reel.
saying, I'm saying.
There's so many reels that are
my
going to come
God.
out of this. It's going to be great.
But okay, so let's
love it.
get back to Adrian. Adrian, with the success, you know, you did well in real estate, right? How do you stay away from the shiny objects?
By the
I'm
way,
sure
this shows
they've been.
this podcast is a little different than my boy Steve Trang's Disruptors, isn't it?
From the Hawk 2. From
Right? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about Hawk Tua here.
Well, because we have fun here. Steve tries to extract information that he could include in his business.
Oh
we
my
just want to
God.
have
Why are you
fun.
taking shots at me?
Jesus,
Bro,
did
we're
you just take a
friends
shot?
with
Just because you're wearing the lokes today.
Steve too. I tell him to his
Bro,
face.
he's wearing the lokes, bro.
Shout out,
Yeah,
Steve.
He's feeling
Hope your Achilles heals soon, brother.
blood in, blood out.
Right.
Settle
Okay,
down,
so seriously,
milkweed.
Adrian, because you've had your success, so you got all this money. How do you stay away from the shiny objects?
Well, I wish we had a lot of money. It all goes to marketing, right? It's another thing. People are like, "Oh, you're making millions. You see us on TV. You're making millions." No, we're trying to make millions, right? We're investing to millions to try to make millions.
That's
right?
faith right there, by the way. That's faith right there.
Putting it
I
back
just
in,
gotta
yeah.
give you your flowers, bro. That's faith. That's faith in your heavenly Father. Then that's faith in what you got and you guys' ability, right? That's faith right there. To be dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars into marketing when most of our people, that's right, most of our people, I'm talking about the Mexicans here, not the Armenians and not the Arabics. Okay? Most of our people, you tell them, hey, you should invest $2,500 into your flooring company this month, and specifically with doing some meta ads.
No, next
They're
time.
like
next time.
$2,500. That's what I pay my uncle every month. Like,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Like, we need to overcome those limited beliefs. Faith.
Faith.
You have faith in what you guys are doing. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, no, it's faith in God. It's faith in our ability, right? You know, I remember when I first brought the idea up to my wife. I'm like, hey, Nick and I are gonna start running TV commercials. She's like, how much does that cost? And I'm like, well, we gotta start at $100,000 a month. And she's just like, what do you mean $100,000? Where are we gonna get that from? And I'm like, I don't know where we're gonna get it from, but we're gonna get it and we're gonna invest in it and it's gonna work. Well, how do we know it's gonna work? I have no idea, but I just know it's gonna fucking work, right? Eventually, it's going to work.
Wow.
And it's having that blind faith in anything, right? You get into a marriage, you get into a relationship, it's gonna be tough. I don't care what relationship you get in, it's gonna be tough. But do you have the faith to see it through, to know that this is going to work, right? And that's the same thing with your marketing, same thing with your business. Now, I believe that immigrants and people that were born of less of is that there's a little bit of a mental barrier there, right?
A
There's
little?
a huge mental barrier, right? And it's, well, my tia said that I cannot do that. Or, God forbid I took that idea to my dad's family, dude. They would have looked at me like I was smoking some good, like I was taking those pills, right?
You're going to put how much into what? You're going to pay Telemundo to do what?
Yeah,
what are
but
you, hold on, what are you getting, your own telenovela?
Yeah, that's for the rich people. That's for those people, right?
this
Well,
is-
why
this-
can't you be those people?
But
You
this
should
is
have done
this
it
is a
like
good.
Trump. Like, we're gonna do it. It's $100,000 a month. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
gonna get the
It's gonna be
best
great,
people.
wifey.
China.
By the way, in most Mexican families,
Yeah.
right? Unfortunately, you can't mention Trump.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Nowadays.
Dude, come
No,
on,
no,
take
no,
it,
no,
take
no,
it
we're not gonna go
lightly
there.
with
We're
a
not gonna
slight
go there. We're
spirit.
not
Come
gonna
on,
go
it's
there.
a funny joke.
Which I don't agree with that shit because, like in LA, they were burning the American flag and then raising the Mexican. Well, then go back.
Yeah.
If you're gonna burn the American flag on American soil and you hate America that much because there's an issue with quote unquote Trump and Mexican, then go back.
Burning-
If you don't like it, go back.
This
That's
guy's
it.
comments
By the way,
on
you
his,
got to cut that up.
Facebook.
Listen, this is what I'll say: burning the American flag in America should be considered treason.
It's a crime. It is
100%.
a
Most
crime.
countries
It's a
are like,
crime.
try to do that in most countries.
What if
You
I
don't
would
even have
have?
to
Let me
look
ask
far.
you
Don't
that.
look far.
Hold on, let me ask you that.
Yeah.
You come from Iraq.
Oh, bro, my head would have been. Actually, it would be worse than that. They would bulldoze the house while we're all in it. They don't just kill the guy. The
Oh
whole
my
family.
God.
Yeah, while you're in it.
That
and
is
yet, and yet they
barbaric.
shut down the 101 in Los Angeles and they have
Yeah.
a freaking party about it.
Jesus.
Just absolutely absurd.
Well,
I saw that on the net, by the way.
Hold on. Talking about the immigrant mentality, you guys were saying it like it's a negative thing. I honestly, I think the immigrant mentality is a blessing. It's like that, you know, especially if you're born somewhere and you're conscious of where you're born,
right.
and then you can't do a bunch of stuff, and then you come here and you're like, well, they let me do all this stuff here. I could do this here. What? Opposed to somebody who's born here is like, oh, I want a video game, or I want this, or I want a phone, I want an iPhone. It's like wanting more, opposed to like, oh my God, wow, what is this? What is this opportunity?
It's an
do they
unfair
use it?
advantage.
But do they use it? Like, yeah, I understand we have their fair
No,
advantage, but do they use it?
we have the immigrants have the unfair advantage because we come
absolutely.
from dirt, from mud, and we have a lot of restrictions. Then we come out here and we're like, oh, we're a kid in the candy shop.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks for the
Non-immigrant.
non-immigrant.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as an immigrant, you have all the tools. You've seen what you don't want to go back to,
Right.
so you kind of have the edge. By default, you're gonna succeed.
You realize
your
the gift
odds
that you
of
have.
succeeding is a lot higher.
You realize the gift that you have because you didn't have it. When you're born with the gift, it's like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be like
How
this.
far back does your family, how far back do you have to go to track who came over from?
Just one. So my dad came here dressed up as a girl, and then my mom from Mexico.
Hold on. We got to repeat that. Hold on.
They dressed up my
Hold
dad
on.
as a girl to cross the border.
How old was your dad?
4? 3, 4?
They
Damn,
dressed.
what?
They
Yeah,
dressed
dressed
your
him up.
dad up as a girl to cross the border.
So my grandma had came over, figured it out, went back to get the kids, dressed up my dad as a girl, and brought him over. It's the only way for them to cross the border.
Let
Why?
me guess.
Why?
Hold on.
I don't know. He didn't
I
really
can.
tell me the story.
I
but
can tell you
wanna
what they
say
did.
An ID or something.
Yeah. No. It was a birth certificate.
Oh, there we go.
It was a. See, I'm like, I know all the tips and all the tricks of what we do as Mexicans to get people over into this country. Bro, that right there is savage right there. They dressed this pops up as a girl. They have a birth certificate, right, of a little girl that's an American, more than likely of Mexican descent, right? And let me guess, your dad, dressed up as a girl, acted like he or she was asleep.
From what I know, yes, in the back seat.
Yeah.
What'd I tell you?
Go ahead. You're all in the
I'm
mud.
not-
Yeah,
bro,
you would know. Huh?
It looks like he came up with the plan, bro.
Nah,
That's what they paid. That's what
Hey, I hope ICE isn't listening to this show, right? Like, yeah, like,
Okay,
hey,
but
bro,
he
I
should
don't
know
want
what to
to
look
hey,
for.
first of all, respectfully, even though I am a conservative, I am not going to help anybody out there, right? Remove good people. Right now, if you want to remove criminals that are illegal,
Couldn't agree more.
get them out.
Right. Absolutely.
I agree.
Don't go and pick on the good people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, figure out a way. Don't tear the families apart. You know, and I know that's very controversial.
Right.
Right. Oh, they're here illegally. They broke a law. I get all that.
Yeah, right.
But I'm also a human being, so it's like it's tough being stuck between a rock and a hard spot. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and then my mom was already here. My grandparents were the first generation here in California.
So your pops was straight Mexican.
Straight.
Where's he
even
from?
till this day, Guadalajara. Even till this day, they
Damn,
got
bro.
the pig in the backyard and the whole.
awesome.
They're straight. You know, it's.
Did he ever become a citizen?
Yeah. He's
Wow.
good now.
Well, that
yeah,
makes
so
my
yeah.
mom never. Yeah, he's good. He's good.
I'm good.
My mom never hasn't become a citizen. She's still a permanent resident.
Permanent resident. Yeah.
You know what's beautiful, by the way. I was talking to her. I don't know when it was raining over the weekend. It might have been Sunday. It was raining. It was beautiful, right? And my mom came over, and I said, "Mom, you know, let's make some coffee. It was 2 p.m. It's raining outside. It's beautiful, right?
Awesome.
Make some coffee, Mom, and let's just go in the backyard and talk. Right? I'll smoke a steak. I smoked a Partagas, one of those long daddies. And my mom was just smoking. She's a cigarette smoker, God bless her. And we're back there. And you know why I love to intentionally sit down with my mom? Because I actually pick her brain. I pick her brain about her life. I ask her questions, tough questions, right? Example, I said, hey, Mom, so how did you get your paperwork, right? And she said she was working the fields in Fresno, California.
Wow.
She was picking strawberries. You know how you gotta strawberries are on the floor. You gotta get down there and you gotta rip them out of the vine, right down on the floor. You know what I mean, or out of the plant, whatever. And when they were going, there was an amnesty that took place, right in the years of Reagan, late 80s. It was like between 86 and 88. There was an amnesty, and the immigration officer tried to set her up because if you were working the fields, you can get amnesty. You can get your paperwork. Right, and the immigration officer, when she went over to to apply and get her paperwork, her residency, the officer asks her, "Oh, so what size of ladder and how many steps do you have to take to pick the strawberries?" And my mom was like, "Excuse me," and this was in Spanish, right? And he goes, "Yeah, like how many steps do you have to take on the ladder to pick the strawberries?" And she goes, "Well, sir, you don't do that. It doesn't require you a ladder. Actually, they're on the floor. You gotta pick them off the floor. Now, if you're picking oranges and you're picking other things, right? Lemons, etc. Yeah, you might need a ladder to get up there, but when you're picking strawberries, they're on the floor." He's like, "Okay, you pass."
Trying to set her up. Wow.
You try to set her up, bro.
Wow.
Try to set her up. So, right, props to your pops for, becoming a citizen, after all this time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously then you came, you're first generation Mexican-American.
Yeah.
Right. Good for you. I'm assuming like most first generation Mexican-Americans, actually not most.
Oh, more second and a half. But yeah, go ahead.
Wait, well,
Because
explain that.
my mom was already here. So my mom's like super whitewashed. She didn't learn Spanish until
No, but
her
on your
30s.
dad's
On my
side, you're
dad's
first
side, yeah, on my dad's
generation,
side,
right?
yeah.
So, okay. I'm assuming they didn't teach you Spanish.
No, I'm still struggling with that.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the problem. And here's the problem. My name's Adrian Hernandez. So people are like, "Oh, he's for sure Mexican."
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And they
He's
start
got the
talking,
three
and I'm like,
names, bro. Yeah,
See?
you're in.
Hey, mucho gusto.
You know what, bro? You know what you should do, bro? You should take some Spanish classes.
Oh, I'm gonna learn it, dude. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need
No,
to,
I need to.
right?
Duolingo,
Yeah,
bro. Duolingo.
Dude, everybody's
They're not
telling me
sponsoring
about
the
that.
show.
Everybody's telling me about that.
Wait, what? I don't understand what he's talking about.
An app that teaches you how to speak Spanish.
I heard Babbel is better, but
Babel.
Okay.
All right, I'll try both.
So,
I need something though.
Go with
Because it's
Sal's
sad. We go to
suggestion.
Mexico and they look at me like, "What
Can-
the hell is wrong with you?"
Just be like, "Oh, my throat."
can we talk a little shop again? Right?
Go back to shop.
Okay. Yeah, go back to a little shop. Ready?
His brain.
California. What area do you guys do most of your deals in?
San Bernardino County, Orange County, Riverside County.
Boom. Just 3 counties.
Yeah, we because our heat map for marketing is as high as Santa Monica, so our heat map is Los Angeles County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, and Orange County. We touch northern San Diego, which is Oceanside and Carlsbad, which is like 15 minutes from our office, right? We're like right in the middle. However, most of our business is generated in the Inland Empire, which is San Bernardino, Riverside County, and Orange County.
Well, you just got that property in Hemet, you said, right?
Yeah, in Hemet,
But
yeah.
Talk to me about that deal in Hemet, California.
Yeah, so we talked about being a doubtful, right? So wholesale's a little tight right now in Southern California. So we've transitioned. You guys may know it as Novations. We do net listings, right? And we're making more money on our net listings than we are on our wholesales.
What I tell you.
They're factoring out,
Right.
right? On a $250,000 house, we made close to $70,000. Our last wholesale fee was $48,000 on a
There it is.
$500,000 house.
Wow.
Right, and it's like, and it's also being resourceful to the client. And back to your point about the agents, you see, I believe that agent market is so big, that agent outreach market is so big because agents aren't resourceful. They're going to their client and they have nothing to tell them on how to get their home sold. So then we come back and we're like, well, actually, we'll give you the offer you want, but do you care how you get it? No, we don't care how you get it. Just get me my
just
money.
give me that.
Great. We need to put it on the market. I need 1 day to show it. Right?
How do you deal with? You said Orange County, bro. These
Yeah.
people are like extremely savvy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that market?
Inbound marketing. we have them call us. When we were calling them, it was a struggle. When now they're calling us, begging us to buy their house, right? So it's a little bit different. And then also, I had to get over the mindset. So I'm originally from Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, born in Los Angeles, moved to Fontana. Well, that's still a heavy, a Hispanic marketplace, right? So I had to get over the mindset that I can actually fit in Orange County because I had this mindset, well, I'm Mexican, I'm short, I don't know, there's no way they're going to take me seriously, right? So I had to have that confidence going into Orange County, and I had that confidence going into appointments. You know, we just took in Dana Point, got under contract for 1.2, right? Older Caucasian folks, but I came in there confident. I knew what I was talking about. He loves me, dude. He absolutely loves me.
Do you have a MAGA
right?
hat on?
Jewelry Exchange, the Jewelry Exchange. You guys have all seen the Jewelry Exchange in California. That guy, Bill, he sold us his house. Wow. He went to 3 agents. His kids didn't want it. He came to us and he goes, "Give me $900,000 for the house. House is probably worth 1.2."
Nice. Was that a net listing too?
No, that was a straight hold. That was a straight. We actually took it down and flipped it.
Okay.
Right? But he, again, to your point, you would think that this guy would, you know, a lot of people think you go to Southern California, it's hard to get deals. You can't get deals in Orange County. You actually could. If you think and believe that it's freaking possible.
Yes.
Right? What do you think and believe is possible? For me, I think that's possible. I think
you got to be creative enough.
I have a question about. You said that you're doing net listings, but some properties may need some renovation. They may need some touch up, some love. Do you guys spend the money on those properties, or so you do?
Yeah,
well, again, let's break down
within a certain criteria.
Of course,
right? I'm not gonna put 10 grand into the house.
Yeah.
Let's break down the Hemet deal, right?
Right.
Did you put any money into it?
No, we didn't do anything to that house.
No cleanup.
No, we just put it right back up.
All right,
that was easy.
And you listed it you listed it for as is market value.
As is market value compared to the comps that we saw. So we just took the most recent comp that was very, very beat up, just like that house. Because most of these houses aren't fully, they're not, so to your point, we had one house in Ontario, it needed to be cleaned. So we had a deep clean, literally $500, deep clean. The house looked immaculate when we were done, right? Hemet, there was nothing wrong with it. We found the most recent comp. They wanted, I want to say 260. We saw that the market was bearing like 350, 340. No investor's going to touch that, right? They want to at least be able to sell it for 400. We came in, listed it. I want to say we listed it for 340, and we ended up getting something stupid, right? Because you can't find a house in Hemet under 400.
I got a few questions. We're talking a little shop now. Right, I love it. Okay, if I give you a graph or like a pie chart, right? And that pie chart has 100%. What percentage, or how would you distribute the percentages of the exit strategy of your deals? Example, X% is novation or net listings.
Right.
X% is wholesale. X% is fix and flip. Break that down for me.
Yeah, so my home sold does not, we're not really flipping, right? So I have a separate company that flips. So to answer your question, it's just net listings and wholesale. 60,
okay.
Right now it's 60-40, 60 wholesale, 40 net list. We're seeing that starting to change. I got a call in this morning on my way over here. It's a net list, right? We have another one tomorrow. It's a net list.
But you always go, you go wholesale, right? Actually, you go price anchor, then they bring you up to maximum allowed offer, right?
Yeah,
so you're wholesale there. And then worst case scenario, right? You're like, okay, so you want about 20, 30 grand more than I can give you on the cash side, right? That's when you ask them, do you care how you get that number?
That number, right.
And then they're like, no, I don't.
And the issue that we're also having in Southern California, and I'm sure you guys are experiencing it here, we have a lot of bad actors in the business, and we have a lot of new actors in the business that have no idea what they're doing, and they're going to a homeowner and they're offering $100,000 more than what we're offering. There's no freaking way that's a deal, right? So we have to find some way to compete with that, because any seller's going to take the 100 grand more. Even though we say go look at their reviews, go do this, go do that, money talks at the end of the day. And so we've lost multiple deals where the competitor came in 100 grand over, and they're calling us trying to get out of the deal because that person on the last day of closing sale is calling them saying, I can't close, I need a price reduction. And it's destroying the Southern California market.
So in reality, there's no money. This is just a mirage.
It's a mirage, but the sellers think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
They're already counting the money.
Oh, dude, they've already. Dude, we had a seller calling us. I've never heard a man cry so hard over the phone, bro.
God.
Because the house, he's already made commitments. He's expecting this money, and they can't close. And they're asking him for $150,000 price reduction.
Jeez.
When we told him that was the price.
Savage. Sounds so sharky.
Here's the reality of that though. That homeowner definitely doesn't trust those people anymore.
No.
That he's probably so disappointed, and I'm assuming, everybody glorifies this like price reduction strategy,
Oh, dude, it's terrible.
right? And we see it online, and they're, they beat their chest when they go back to the homeowner and
I can't stand
price reduced by 50 or 100 grand or whatever, right? At that point, if I was the homeowner, I'd be like, hey, you know what? We're good. And out of spite, I am going to, now I know where I need to be, but I'm not going to be there with you.
But here's the problem.
people don't have the time
Here's the
for
problem,
that, bro.
guys. Their contracts, they're so bulletproof that they're filing list pendants on the
Where are they
properties when
learning
they
all this
don't
stuff,
agree.
bro?
When they don't agree on this price reduction, okay, no worries. I'm going to tie up your house and you're not going to be able to sell it. There are so many houses that we go back to and title will run. They're like, dude, there's a list pendants. You guys can't do anything. And I'm like, and I'll call that person. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Let these people go. No, bro. No, absolutely not. This is my business model. Click. I'm like,
You should sue them.
Jesus Christ,
That's what I would do.
dude.
Yeah,
I would sue them.
tap out.
I would sue them. I would sue them. If I was in your shoes, I would hire a lawyer, right? If it's going to be a profitable situation for the homeowner and for your company, I would hire a lawyer. I would have a lawyer ready to roll and just be ready to just send out these demand letters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once the demand letter comes in, we'll see if you're serious,
Yeah, if you
or
still-
if you are like most people, like you just mentioned earlier, an actor.
An actor.
You're an actor.
Yeah, they're bad.
You know what I mean?
actors.
Exactly, bro. Like they're playing the game of real estate investing, right?
And it's terrible. To your point, they're pumping their chest on. Look at what I just did. Talk about poor business, bro.
Well,
You're
that's
not
why.
going to survive. It's that get rich quick. It's just a matter of time before the house of cards comes crumbling down, and you're indicted with God knows how many lawsuits.
Someone's gonna get
There's,
sued.
there's no coincidence why they're trying to regulate this
Yeah, exactly.
wholesaling,
They're
because
just
you
ruining
have
it for
these bad
everybody.
actors that
Yeah.
consistently do bad business, and they're after the gold rush. And most of those bad actors, you see them jump from one business to, they started with real estate, and then they go to crypto, and they'll go.
And that's
It's funny how you see that cycle, and then they're experts. You see them one day doing this, and then overnight they come up with a new video. Hey, by the way, I'm in this industry. I've been doing a lot of research. You're like, when?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, you were doing something else. Like what? 12-hour research?
Mark my words, escrow will start to have sellers sign off on what the wholesaler's making. It's just a matter of time. There's already escrow officers or escrow companies in California that are already doing that. They're requiring the seller to sign off on the profit for the wholesaler because the escrows are getting sued. The escrows are going through it, right? And so they're first going to go after the escrow company, and
of
then they're
course.
going to bring in the
Insurance money,
wholesaler,
yeah.
right? Well, a lot of these escrow companies are like, screw this, dude. You need your seller needs to now sign off on it.
Yeah.
And if they don't sign off on it, we're not doing
we're
the deal.
not doing it. We're not going to
It's
insure
just a
it.
matter of time before that regulation hits hard.
I
dude.
believe
Hard.
regulation will wipe out the bad actors.
Good.
Also
what I
make
mean?
it
Good.
And
So
then
I'm
you have to
okay
come
with
up with
it.
more creative ways to wholesale because it's going to be
Well, no, I
annoying.
just think you need to come from a place of like, I can really trust this guy. Like, I can really like, dude. Our sellers don't care they don't care what they pay us. Most of our sellers don't.
Well, because you ask an amazing question, like, you want this money? Do you care what we do, what we got to do to get it? What's the question exactly?
Yeah. Do you want 500 grand? Do you care how we get it?
Yeah, do we care how you get? What a brilliant question. Because once they say no, they can't come back and say, well, hey, you're making this or you're doing this. It's like, you told me you don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you do. But I think a lot of this is happening because of the sharks. You know, the sharks know a method, maybe it works for them, and then they teach the method, and then people just aren't skilled at it, and they just kind of
I think a lot of these people
Ruin
don't
it.
have any integrity.
yeah,
You know
shark.
what I mean? I think it's just disgusting, dude.
Shark
Like,
eats when it's hungry. It doesn't
like,
care.
bro, if you see, what's the difference between good and evil, right? Evil is referred to or described through definition or by definition to harm with intent. Like, you already know that you're going to harm this person, and you still go through with it for your gain. For your gain, you know what I mean? So I got another question for you when it comes to the specific marketing that you're doing now. You're 100% like in TV right now.
Burn the boats, baby.
You went all in on TV,
Yeah, we
television.
went all in. Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah. We
that's
went all in on
crazy.
TV. Yeah.
So, what type of marketing leads are you getting? Because Sal and I have been thinking about doing some TV in a creative way, but what type of leads are you what type of prospects are you attracting?
Yeah, so TV's a little tough. I was having a conversation on the way over here. They're asking me, how profitable has it been? And I'm like, it's hard to it's hard to figure it out because we'll get the client on the phone. How do you hear about us? Oh, Google. And then I'll go to the appointment and I see NBC on and our commercial pops up. And I'm like, oh, have you seen the commercial? And they're like, yeah, that's how we heard about you. And then we went to Google. And it's like, well, where's the, right? So what we've noticed is ever since we started it, the brand awareness has definitely kicked on. It's my home sold, they're Googling that, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for us. So that's been huge. I can't put a number to it exactly. I'm just still trying to figure that out. And with your help, hopefully you can, I know you have a different brain than I do.
We can
right?
talk.
I want
You
to pick your
should.
brain on how I can figure that out.
Absolutely.
Because we are trying to figure out the return there. We know it works, right? So what we do is we're just looking at our overall spend to what our overall, what we're getting every month is. And when we talked, I was off. I said we were spending $50K a month in mailers. We're not. It was $10K a month in mailers. We're just at 50 for the year. So when I was reading those numbers when we were talking, I was off.
Okay.
So I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, great. So when you, okay, got it. Now, again, I'll repeat.
Oh yeah, I didn't answer the question.
The type, right? The type of lead that you're getting, right? Is
Yeah.
the type of lead looking, what are they looking for? Are they looking for a cash offer? Are they looking for, do they come, is their approach, what's the most amount of money that you can give
so
me?
we get both. We have straight call, come sell or come by my house. We need to sell it. We see you guys on TV. What do we do? Yeah. And then we do get a lot of on market. Hey, we saw you. We've been on the market for 5 months, 6 months. What can you do to help us? Right? We want 500. We owe 500. Right? And the house is worth 500. Right? And we can't do anything about that.
Got it.
Right? And so we do get a lot of those. We do get what we categorize in our CRM as not a fit, and we do get a lot of not a fits.
Yeah.
It's just part of it.
I'm interested to see, how deep you can get into your marketing tracking, right? I'll give you an example, right? Like you just said, if it's not a fit, right? That's lead qualification ratio. I'm interested to see, what that I track lead qualification ratio across every single marketing channel. I track it with Meta.
Oh, well,
I track it with Google AdWords. I even track it with Instagram, right? I track lead qualification ratio. To me, that's very, very, very important, especially, anytime that I'm spending money on Meta or Google AdWords or even PPL, like pay per lead.
Right.
The lead qualification ratio to me is very, very important, because example, right? You may get an influx, a crazy amount of leads. This is what was happening early during some of our campaigns, Sal. Meta, oh man, you guys are crushing. It's like $60 cost per lead. You got 100 and something lead, whatever, right? And then the lead qualification was like 18.5%. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, hey guys, that's not going to work. So what did we do? We made a quick adjustment, and we went to high intent and more qualifiers, right? Oh, and we also switch from instant form to lander to visiting to external link click and then going to the lander. That increased the qualification ratio.
Yes, and not in every case, but you gotta split test and find out what your avatar is and what messaging that you have out there. And for every business is different. You have some businesses that Facebook forms, the instant form is better than them being redirected to a lander. But you have other businesses that the lander outperforms the Facebook form, which is crazy.
I would be interested. You should definitely or get with Sal. Like, let's figure out a way to track your TV lead qualification ratio.
Yeah.
Right. Again, because sometimes an influx of leads doesn't mean that it's the right lead.
100%.
Right. I'd rather have my guys on the right leads.
Right. Well, then to your point on TV, what we learned is like cable, you get a lot of those de-stressed houses. Like cable is a lot of listed or fully renovated houses.
They're paying for cable, yeah.
Yeah, cable's a little bit different. Now, Channel 11, Channel 7, right? The news channels, that's where we get more of the distress. So we've noted, we had somebody who had ran TV for a long time help us with that. They're like, don't go HGTV because all you're going to get is everybody that's doing remodels. Right? Instead, let's go to that channel that we know that demographic is at, right? To your point, the avatar, right?
But
Where is that avatar?
It makes sense with what you're saying with the ad and Google, then they go to Google. It makes complete sense because like that's how Ishmael was with Next Gen, right?
That's right.
So he put up
Billboards.
the billboards, and then but he was doing all his business online. So the billboards, the commercials, just in stitches your brand into their mind, and then now they know what to search for, and then they find you, quote unquote.
By the way, badass episode that you guys did with Next Gen. That and the garage.
Ishmael.
The
Ishmael,
Ishmael and the Garage,
Tommy
A1
Mello?
Garage, dude. Nick
Wait.
and I listened to that over and over and over again.
dope.
Didn't you
That's
guys have Tommy Mello on?
Well, no, I was on Tommy Mello. Are you talking about the landscaper?
No, I'm
Virgil?
talking. No, not. I'm talking about
I
the
just
Garage
did. I
guy.
just did one with Tommy Mello earlier this week. Is that already out? Maybe.
No, I thought I heard you guys with another podcast with Tom. Unless it was Ishmael.
Oh, that I had an old podcast with Tommy Mello when we were in our old building.
Okay, I think that's what it
But
was.
Ishmael's next gen.
Ishmael's so good, and so that put the point. Like when we heard that, Nick and I was like, "All right, we're on the
Yeah.
right track," because we
Yeah.
know it
Yeah.
works, right? It's that brand awareness. It's
It's
that
such
it's
a
gonna
big
pay off.
risk, and it takes so much faith,
That-
man.
Oh, it
That's
takes
like
balls of
huge,
steel,
bro.
bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
It takes balls of steel.
Yeah, I was just about to tell you. It's funny when you said that right now. I was thinking of Ishmael and Tommy at the same time, and he just dropped it right. Because if you had the money, if you have the money, right? If you have the money, you should do it all.
Yeah.
You look at what Tommy does.
Oh yeah.
He's all over billboards. He's on television. He's on Vans.
Van, didn't he
Right?
rent out all of the Diamondback and had a whole?
Yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's all gonna feed each other. I mean,
Parking. He's doing something called parking now, where he parks his vans in busy areas, and that's their marketing.
how crazy is that? Right? He doesn't call it marketing. He calls it parketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Right. And
Crazy.
I believe the real estate industry is very behind on what they think marketing is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Their form of marketing is send just listed, just sold postcards and make a post on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's not marketing,
No.
right? I mean,
Rocket
a
science.
little bit, right? You're talking about 0.1% to what real marketing is,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
that's the
I mean,
difference.
again, if you have the money, right? If you have the money, do it the way some of these 9-figure companies do it.
Right.
They're everywhere
Well, to your point,
at the same
invest-
time. They're
when-
omnipresent.
Right, and when you make that money, start to invest it back. Don't go buy all the shit that you see on Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, fuck, man. I wanted a Ferrari and a Lamborghini forever, right? Forever. But I knew it's gonna take some time. We need to put this money back into marketing before we go buy some more cars.
I've seen
right?
you take some very nice vacations with your wife and your son. I would say that that's a much better investment than buying a luxury car.
100%. Yeah, because those memories last.
Great
with you,
memories,
Right?
that's
and,
right.
and for me, like I was having this talk with Steve Tran. Like I'm a natural car guy. Like I have some nice cars. I don't ever share them. No one knows that I own them. And I do that for a pure fact. The pure fact of I do it because I'm a car enthusiast and that's what I enjoy. I don't give a shit what you think about if I drive it or not. Your opinion of what I do is irrelevant. I just enjoy it, right? I enjoy working on it. I enjoy being in it, washing it. Like to me, that's how I grew up. I grew up in the engine bay of a car. Like my dad and my grandpa are big grease monkeys. So for me, like that's what I know. It's different. Other people do it to stand in front of it to post a picture on Instagram and tell everybody how good they're doing. I can give two shits about how you think I'm doing, right? I care about what my wife thinks and what my son thinks.
Boom.
Yeah.
See, that's amazing. And that requires growth, right? That requires growth because I'm sure every single person on this show at some point, growing up, we had a chip on our shoulder,
100%.
right? We had a chip on our shoulder. We wanted to prove the world wrong, right? We wanted to, and we say this a lot now. It's like, don't concern yourself with proving everybody wrong, right? Make it a point and a goal to prove yourself right,
So good.
right?
Oof.
And yeah,
There we go.
oof, right. But here, let's start as we're winding down. Okay, inbound. I love everything you guys got going on out there, bro. What's your goal? What's your goal actually, hold on. Whoever was watching or listening missed this earlier. Earlier you said I hired a full-time person to do agent outreach,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because, a lot of people out there, I think that that's something that someone should add to the arsenal. Right? I think you should have agent outreach.
Yeah.
I think you should have wholesaler outreach.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you should do, traditional marketing and go that route. You should be firing multiple marketing cannons, right? So what does that look like on the agent outreach side?
Yeah, so she sits there. She pulls up every single listing that has some sort of distress indicator on private remarks or agent remarks or public remarks. So inside the MLS, you can put in there, distress, fixer upper, right? And then she sits there and just calls every single agent. The difference is you need to go show up to the house and actually walk the damn property and then call the agent and say, hey, I'm here. What is it going to take to get it done? Because they're getting inundated with investors, right? But who can show up to the house, just like an appointment, who can show up to the house and actually prove to the agent that they want to do it? And then the person that you have to have do it, they need to be a grinder. I can't tell you how many times I've explained this process brought someone on to do this for us, and they don't do it.
They just
right?
wanted to do it over the phone.
Yeah, they want to do it over the phone, or they get lazy, or they're like, oh, yeah, I called 5 today. 5? There were 120 that came on the market. What do you mean 5?
Wow.
Right? And so it's finding that right person. We've trained a few. We finally got the right one. She's on it. She's going to every appointment, calling all the agents. And then here's the big thing. You're not going to the goal is not that deal. The goal is to get that agent to get you the next deal.
Yeah.
Right? The goal is to make that relationship with the agent to where when it falls out, she can call you. That agent can call you.
Yeah.
Right? So like most of the deals that she's getting are, hey, that escrow that we accepted, they can't follow through, or they can't put the EMD, or whatever the case may be. How fast can you guys act? Right? And and we're ready to go.
You
But it
trust
took her to build that rapport first.
It did.
So she'll call you, or they'll call you back again.
Right, and that's where showing up to the house is important, right? Hey, I'm actually here. I'm not just calling you from my computer.
They're not going to
actually
call
here.
anybody else that just called.
Who just
They'll talk
called.
to
That's
somebody
right. Or
that showed
email
up. They
them
know how serious
blindly.
you
They
were.
walked it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no point. Well, because the other people, they're going to call back. Well, do you need to go walk it? Do you need to go see it? We've already seen it. What do we need to do? Let's cut the time in half. Because an agent's job, or an agent in their mindset is what? They want to get paid. They want to get paid today.
Yeah.
So how do we help you get paid today?
You're for sure thing because you showed up.
100%.
You
And then
know-
obviously, hey, we're on TV and all this other ego
Credibility,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the credibility is
yeah.
definitely there, right? But and you know, not to be controversial, because I love agents, and you know, agents play a pivotal part in the ecosystem of real estate. However, right, at the end of the day, I think most real estate agents, they might not care how much you sell it for, as long as you sell it and they get paid. Would you agree?
That's all they care about.
See what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
So here's one of the last two questions. Here's the question. Where have you seen more 7-figure earners? Because you've been on both sides.
Yes.
You've been on the agency side, and now you've been on the investor side. Where do you see more 7-figure earners?
So back all the way to the beginning of the show.
That's right.
When you asked what was the difference of when I went to All In compared to everywhere else, the real estate seminars that I used to go to that was all traditional, they would have a front row of the top producers. They were all making $1 million to $2 million max. And at that time, I thought that was a lot of money, right? $1 million, $2 million, wow. And then I show up to your guys' event, and it's not $1 million, it's $1 million a quarter.
I was
Right.
like, dude,
It's-
we're spending $1 million a year on marketing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys are making 5, 10. Like the numbers were just, dude, I remember going back to the real estate seminar going, what is this? And they've been doing it for how long?
Wow.
And they're making how much? They just got to 3 million, and they've been doing this for 20 years, 15 years. It was the pivot
Yeah.
in my mind. It just
Yeah.
shifted. I'm like, again, you are who you hang. If I want to stay here, I'm only going to cap at 2.
You become them.
So I need to go here so I can 10, 15, right? That I need to be here. It's the room.
Do you remember those momentum events?
Bro, that's the most pivotal time of our careers.
What do we got to do? Because Sal and I are fully, obviously, we are. I think you and I have agreed.
Real estate.
We're married to real estate now.
Yeah. We all-
Real estate was, well, not for me and Sal. For me and Sal, he comes from the car industry.
Oh, that's right.
You know, I come from doing everything industry, right? I believe Sal and I were dating real estate, and we might have we might have proposed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we got that far,
Mm-hmm.
but we took our foot off the gas pedal, because him and I, we wanted to, as operators, we wanted to increase our business acumen to a level that we never imagined. And we left the business, not completely, because we still had Maria running the show. Then we had, like Brandon Simmons running the show, and Max, and right. So we always, it was a slightly there,
Right.
but Sal and I went and we got educated hardcore. Like we hired a COO, we hired a CEO, we got into the private equity space. We did some stuff with Bradley, a business boot camp. Like we got into the flooring space, roofing space, solar space, right? Landscaping space, construction space. Sal and I were just like, no, we want to be, right? We didn't go and, we didn't pay $500,000 to go learn from Hormozy or Cardone. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just went and we did it ourselves.
Right.
Right. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is this, you were saying something earlier. You said, most real estate people don't know how to build a business
No.
on the agency side and on the investment side,
Mhm.
right? What does it take to build a real business now that you've been in it this long?
brass balls.
Oof.
What's that movie?
The Glengarry Ross.
Brass balls.
Brass balls. That should be a reel.
The
Boom,
best part of the
right?
movie was just
Yeah.
that one speech.
That's right. You're right.
That's so true.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I watched it. I got duped into it.
Me too.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell am I watching?
It's a little slow. It's not horrible. It's
That was a horrible movie.
I didn't
What
like
are you talking
it.
about?
slow.
The
It's-
speech was the best thing of the
Yeah,
movie.
that whole thing.
It is the
right?
best part.
Brass
A lot of
balls. Yeah, go
lessons.
into that.
No, I mean, I just that was a joke. But to answer your question, right? I believe it's being adaptive, right? As you said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. Is those that are most adaptive to change, most that are most persistent, right? And then being able to go hire somebody to teach you how to build a business. We were fortunate that you guys gave us the opportunity to invest in you guys, or to invest in our company to learn how to build a business. You don't know what you don't know, so go pay somebody who knows it, who can teach you how to do it.
And what you don't know is what kills you.
100 every single time.
Right.
So stay anytime I go to offices and they'll have me speak at an office, and I always start saying, I don't know shit. I don't know a damn thing.
I don't even know why I'm here.
But what I do know is that I've spent some money, I've lost some money, and we've won and we've lost. So let's just talk about that and the lessons we've learned here. Because I still don't know anything, and I'm learning every day, right? I came here with literally a list of questions, right? Because I'm going to ask you guys once we get off this, like, how do we get there? It's always being a student, always learning. And the day you got it figured out is the day you lose.
I called you the other day.
Yeah.
I called you. I remember I called him and I
Yeah,
put
yeah,
him
I
on speaker. I say, hey, bro, what's going on? What's working? What's not working? You should always, I'm a student. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I'm constantly calling people. I'm not, bro, I know nothing.
Yeah.
I know nothing. And I don't have a crystal ball, right? A lot of our decisions that are made are based off data that sound, by the way, we've never studied data the way we're studying data now, right?
So good.
You know what I mean? By the
We were watching yesterday, same video, separate times. Crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
we-
same
we-
time, but separate. He started it. I had it started, and he
Without
sent a
planning
picture of
it? Just
no,
without-
without planning
Oh,
it.
that's-
Same
no,
video.
no,
That's
we're
awesome.
constantly
Wow.
like we are students of the game,
cool.
bro. Like when I tell you that
That's great.
I know what a list to contract ratio is now, and I know what percentage that zip code needs to be at to dictate if it's a seller's zip code or it's a buyer's zip code. Like him and we have dove super deep, several layers down, because we don't want to get caught with our pants down like we did back in September of 22 with 18 flips on the market, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be, again, we make our decisions now, right? It's still a calculated risk, but we take the data that we study every day, and we take our experience, right? And then we take what God tells us intuitively to do, and that's what we do. There's no crystal ball.
Yep. And I saw you guys do it today. You called Zach.
That's right.
Yep. That's to the point.
That should tell you everything.
When I saw you call Zach, in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing the right thing.
That's right.
I'm doing the right thing. Because when I'm stuck, when I have a question, who do I call? How can I figure out
That's
this
it.
knowledge? Because if I try to figure it out myself, every time I've tried to figure it out myself, I get it wrong.
And that's the thing that I just want to shine a light on. It's different if you're in that circle and you're giving value and you get value, you give value. No one's like, give me money, right? It's different when somebody that's not
Unless
giving
you're
value.
Zelensky. Can you make that imitation about Zelensky again?
Give me my money. I need money, Mr. President, please. So yeah, it's different if somebody has not given value. There's no shared value, and then they're coming. Let me pick your brain. I got these 50 questions. We're like,
Why
bro,
do you still sound like Zelensky?
what's going on? Because give me my money, please, Mr. President, please. We need a yacht. We need a boat. We need to. Our people are dying.
Oh my God, bro! We need more drones.
We need more drones. My wife needs a yacht.
Wow. Anyway,
good.
bro, what's next for Adrian Hernandez?
Dude, we're gonna be the largest home buying company in Southern California. Period. End of story.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's gonna
See, that
take-
takes
What's the
that
date?
takes
What's
brass
the
If
date?
it
nuts.
takes us a year, 10 years to get there, we're gonna fucking get there.
Persistence and brass nuts.
Brass nuts. Yeah.
Right, bro?
I say balls, bro. And
Brass
nuts.
I like
balls.
nuts.
And then
Sounds-
being able to just go through the shit. Like,
Wow.
one thing I'm being very grateful for is the shit. Right,
Oof.
I'm being very grateful.
Embrace the shit.
Yeah,
in the
you know,
shit.
I was talking to my wife yesterday. I'm like, we got to learn to dance in the storm, right? It's like we have a 2.5-year-old. Anybody that has a 2.5-year-old, it's wild. Like they're just wild, especially if you know, depending on your child. Like we have a little boy. He's just, dude, he's bananas, right?
Yeah.
And there's days where we look at each other like, what the fuck? What is going on, right? And so yesterday I'm like, we got to learn to dance in the storm. When it's when the thunder and the lightning and it looks like you can't survive, let's dance in it. Let's learn to have fun in it, because if we can have fun there when the times are good, we're really having fun. Like how can you have fun regardless, right? And that's one thing I'm now starting to work on, because I think I took it so seriously, and I was so like that I never got to have fun. And now I'm like, I'm walking in every day just laughing. Just how do we make this enjoyable? Because we got to go through it regardless. How do we make it enjoyable? How do we make it fun? How do we make it make it feel like we're fulfilled?
Bro, that's growth in behalf of
I
that,
think
man.
that's the way that we start closing
that's
this.
Your growth. There was a pivotal time in your life, and you made the switch, and that was the real growth.
Well, I was tired of being unhappy, dude. I was tired of feeling miserable.
What do you think was the cause of that, bro?
I wasn't acknowledging the blessings. I wasn't acknowledging that, I'll give you a prime example.
You were living in the gap, not the gain.
No, like before I got here, I had to go record something at the court, because I don't know if you guys I told you guys, I lost a couple $100,000 when I was flipping out here a couple of years ago. I had a contractor take an obscene amount of money from me, right? So we finally got a judgment 5 years later, right? So I had to go down to the court before I got here to deal with some stuff. And before, I was super stressed out about it. Now I'm like super grateful it happened, because I wouldn't be the Adrian who's sitting in this chair today if it didn't happen, right? But at that time, I was beating myself up over it. Now I'm just laughing and I'm having fun. I'm like, thank you. How humorous are you, right?
Wow.
Like, thanks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here.
What a
And
blessing.
we look at all that. We look at the blessings as not blessings. We feel them a certain way, right? We look at them as anger or stress.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
Instead,
why me? Or why?
Yeah.
you play the victim role. Instead,
Oof.
thank you for letting it happen to me, because that means I'm on the right track.
The losses became lessons.
Yep.
And the lessons became blessings.
Send it with that.
I'm on one today. No, I'm just joking. Where can
Can end right there.
where can people find you, brother?
Hit me up on Instagram, guys, at Adrian Hernandez, and then making a big push on YouTube. So check me out, Adrian Hernandez.
Let's go. With that being said, thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll catch you next week.
Go all in.